Hey everybody, I'm Ethan.
And I'm Jesse.
And today we'll be taking a look at the Segway C80 electric moped.
Next on Now Let's Review. Before we get started, I just want to mention that this C80 was sent to us by Rev Rides, but that will not affect our review in any way, and all of our review will be based on our experiences.
Rev Rides is a US-based company out of Vancouver, Washington that's family-owned and has great customer service. We've worked with their team before for our VSET 10 Plus review, and we absolutely love working with them.
They have 96 service centers around the US, including areas like Los Angeles, New York, Seattle, Portland, San Diego, and many more.
REV stands for recreational electric vehicles, and the whole team at Rev Rides are firm believers that REVs are not only the future of motorized recreation, but the solution for traffic and a way to relieve the stress of daily commuting.
If you want to purchase the Segway C80, make sure you get it from Rev Rides.
Stick around for our exclusive coupon code that will get you $50 off your order of $500 or more from Rev Rides. The Segway C80 is clearly a bit different from the average e-bike, and truthfully, it isn't really an e-bike at all. Yes, it has pedals, but the pedals are useless and are only present so that it can technically be considered an e-bike. Make no mistake though, this is a throttle-only moped, not an e-bike. They don't really do a whole lot. They're pretty much just for show.
What are you talking about? Look at this, I can pedal it, see?
Right.
Didn't you see it pedal?
Right, yeah, so if you get on it and try to do that, you're basically gonna only be able to go like 2 miles an hour. It has the worst gearing of anything I've ever ridden, and they are definitely not actually meant to be used. This is basically slapped on here so that it can technically be considered an e-bike, even though you will not be able to power this under your own power. Something else worth mentioning is the fact that the C80 comes fully assembled, but arrives in a huge metal cage that you have to pry apart in order to get the moped out. If you don't have the right tools or aren't in good shape, this may be a very difficult task. Thankfully, we were able to get it all apart and get the moped out, but then we had a huge pile of steel scraps that we had to cut into small pieces with an angle grinder just to be able to throw away. If you were taking delivery of this in a city, I have no idea how you would be able to logistically make that happen. Delivery issues aside, the C80 looks fantastic. The design is well thought out, there are multiple color options available, and every part and piece of this moped look like they are meant to go together. It features a front LED headlight that turns on automatically when it gets dark, a rear brake light, front and rear fenders, and front and rear suspension. I haven't figured out a way to turn the headlight on manually, and it seems like it will only turn on when it senses that it's getting dark. This isn't a huge deal, but it would be nice to have a way to manually turn on or off the headlight. The brakes consist of a disc brake in the front and a drum brake in the rear, as well as regenerative braking from the motor. The regen braking is pretty weak, but the front and rear brakes have plenty of stopping power. The suspension on the C80 is fantastic. It soaks up pretty much any bump you might encounter on the road and provides one of the smoothest rides we have ever experienced. The suspension combined with the large, comfortable seat and the upright handlebars make for a vehicle that is easy to ride for long periods of time without getting sore or uncomfortable.
So yeah, I think the first thing to talk about the C80 is the ride comfort. It's unmatched. Seriously, I have not ridden a single other electric or non-electric vehicle that was this comfortable.
I agree, the suspension is just amazing. So it's got front and rear suspension, got a normal fork in the front, I think just spring suspension in the back, but regardless of what it is, it's so smooth, it's so comfortable, you really do just float over every bump you hit. So on top of the suspension and the comfortable seat, the rider positioning is also great. You're sat very upright, the handlebars are up high and it's kind of swept back towards you, so you're really just comfortable, never leaning forward, your back's not gonna hurt.
And then you have a lot of different options for how you wanna sit. There are these little pop-out foot stands, which I think is hilarious, but you can also sit your feet right here. You can also dangle them.
And yeah, I agree. I think it is by far the most comfortable thing we have that we've tested to ride. On the handlebars are the brake levers, a twist throttle to control the motor, lights that show bike status, a very loud horn, a multi-function button, large rear view mirrors, and a simple screen that shows speed, battery level, and phone connection status. The mirrors provide excellent rear visibility once they're adjusted properly, and they are definitely necessary if you're going to be taking this anywhere with traffic. The lights on the handlebars can light up 4 different colors, each indicating a different status of the moped. Green means ready to ride, blue means cruise control, orange means standby but unable to ride, and red indicates an error. Before you can ride the C80, you have to install the Segway app, connect to the moped, register it, and complete a rider safety course. In my opinion, the course doesn't actually seem necessary to be able to ride the moped, but I suppose for someone completely inexperienced, it might be helpful. The app enables the use of some of the C80's coolest features. With your phone connected and AirLock enabled, you can lock and unlock the moped with the push of a button instead of having to swipe the NFC keycard. Seat detection and auto lock can be enabled as well. This makes it so that the moped will power down and lock within a few seconds of the rider getting off the bike. The seat can also be opened through the app or with a physical key, or by holding the brake and pressing the green function button on the right handlebar. When the bike is locked and the handlebars are turned all the way to the left, they lock in place and cannot be turned until the moped is powered on and unlocked. Additionally, an alarm is set when the moped is locked, and if the bike rolls at all or is tampered with, the lights on the handlebars flash and an alarm will sound. A notification is also sent to your phone alerting you that the moped is being tampered with. You can also see the GPS location of the moped on the app at any time.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of feature set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't experienced it that much because when we first got it, I didn't have the app. So I was stuck with this key. I mean, it's a big NFC card.
Right.
I think it could be smaller, but this could easily go in your keychain. You also have the key.
Which doesn't turn it on. The key card is the only thing that turns it on. The key is just to open the seat. So you can use that to physically unlock it,
right,
or you can open the seat once the moped's on. The amount of features that this has is really impressive. I don't think we've had another bike or scooter or anything that has the level of features that this thing does. Riding the C80 is a good time for the most part. The suspension makes the ride extremely comfortable, the brakes have great stopping power, and the throttle is easy to control. Cruise control is another nice feature of the C80, and it can easily be enabled by pressing and holding the function button while maintaining a steady speed. It is disengaged by applying either the throttle or the brakes. A hub motor with 750 watts of peak power is mounted on the back wheel, but because of the weight of this moped, which comes in at 121 pounds, the acceleration is sluggish and it can only get up to just shy of 20 miles per hour. For the size and weight of the C80, a much more powerful motor is needed to make this an enjoyable ride for any extended period of time. Riding it for a short trip is fine because of how comfortable the ride is, but 20 miles per hour very quickly becomes a drag, and I am always left wishing this moped had more power and speed, even if it was only 5 to 10 miles per hour more.
The speed. It is not there. If this could go 25, 30 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, and this, I would sell my car.
Less than 20 miles an hour is just unbearable when you have to ride it for any extended period of time. Yeah, if you're in a really tightly packed urban environment, 20 is probably gonna be fine, but like getting anywhere in any kind of suburban environment is just a drag with this because of the speed. And not only is the top speed kind of disappointing, the hill climbing ability is also really limited. Could be largely because of the weight, but I also do just think it comes back to the motor being underpowered. It really struggles to get up hills that aren't even super steep. It's really meant to be flat ground, consistent speed. The acceleration is not great, but I mean, again, once you're cruising at that speed, it's super comfortable.
Right.
Everything is powered by a removable 24 amp hour lithium-ion battery that gives the C80 a claimed range of just under 53 miles in ideal conditions. It can be charged separately from the bike or through a charge port located on the back. They claim that this 53-mile range can be achieved in ideal conditions and at 60% of the max speed. So that means you would have to be traveling at an abysmally slow 12 miles per hour to get the most range out of it. I tested the range using almost entirely full speed and going over a mix of flat ground and hills, and I got just around 40 miles out of it. This is still a great range, and if you're using it to commute any reasonable distance, then this should be able to handle it. On this moped, I would gladly sacrifice some range for more power and a higher top speed, because going 40 miles at less than 20 miles per hour feels like an eternity. For shorter trips across town or around a neighborhood, the C80 would be perfectly fine, and that is where I think this moped is meant to shine. This would be a perfect vehicle for getting around a Florida retirement community or a big timeshare resort where people get around with things like golf carts anyways. The long range definitely allows for the C80 to be used as a commuter, but since it is so heavy and can't easily be brought inside, I feel like the use case is definitely more geared towards a warm weather resort of some kind. For getting around somewhere like that, the C80 would be an absolute blast and perhaps the perfect candidate. The Segway C80 will cost you $2,199 US on Rev Rides as of writing this review. If you use our exclusive code NLR21 at checkout, you can get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more. If you're going to be using this as a commuter, I think there are other options in a similar price range that are faster and might be able to handle different terrain a little better. But I mean, I don't think that this is an unfair price for this moped.
I mean, it's funny because we have e-bikes that have, I'll say, more functional pedals that go way faster than this thing.
Yeah.
And are far more capable in terms of the terrain that they can hit. And some of them even have comparable-ish ranges. But I would say that in terms of ride comfort and just overall form, I really, really like this. But overall, I'm really excited about the future of electric mobility. So glad, if only we had a YouTube channel about this.
I know, it'd be really cool.
If only we could keep covering new and exciting mobiles that keep coming out.
Oh wait!
We do! And
that.
you can subscribe to this channel. We have plenty more stuff coming, and we are really excited to be getting faster versions of something like this. I think that it's going to change the way a lot of people live their lives.
This is definitely a step in the right direction. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate the support. Make sure you hit the like button. Again, hate to ask you to do it, but it really helps. Subscribe, we've got lots more cool content on the way, and we'll see you next time.
Now let's review.